Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to participate in this training. Today I'll be providing an overview of the responsibilities that come with serving on the board of directors for Martha's Village and Kitchen. The goal of this presentation is to explain some of the key documents, IRS requirements, and governance responsibilities that help protect the organization's 501c3 tax-exempt status, while also reducing potential liability for board members. To start, it's important to understand what it means for Martha's Village and Kitchen to be a 501c3 organization. A 501c3 is a tax-exempt nonprofit recognized by the IRS that operates for charitable purposes. In Martha's Village's case, that means providing housing, supportive services, and resources to individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Because of this status, the organization is exempt from federal income tax and donations are generally tax deductible. Martha's Village is also considered a public charity because it receives broad support through donations, grants, and community partnerships. Understanding what a 501c3 is provides the foundation for the rest of the board's responsibilities and why compliance is so important. Not all 501c3 organizations are the same. Once an organization qualifies for tax-exempt status, it's generally classified as either a public charity or a private foundation. Martha's Village and Kitchen is a public charity because it receives broad support from the community through donations, grants, and partnerships. In contrast, private foundations are typically funded by a single individual, family, or corporation and are subject to different tax rules and requirements. Understanding this distinction is important because it affects how an organization is funded and how it operates under IRS regulations. Now that we've talked about what it means for Martha's Village and Kitchen to be a 501c3 organization, the next step is understanding one of the key documents that establish that status, the Articles of Incorporation. This legal document officially created the nonprofit and outlines its charitable purpose. It also includes important IRS language such as a dissolution clause, which states that if the organization ever closes, any remaining assets must be distributed to another qualified nonprofit or government entity for a public purpose. As board members, it's important to understand this document because it serves as a legal foundation for the organization and helps ensure it continues operating with its exempt purposes. The organization must also obtain an Employer Identification Number, or EIN, from the IRS. An EIN is essentially the nonprofit's tax identification number and is required even if the organization doesn't have employees. It's also needed before applying for tax-exempt status. Another important document board members should be familiar with is the organization's bylaws. The bylaws serve as the nonprofit's internal operating rules and provides guidance on how the organization is governed. They outline the responsibilities of the board and officers, explains voting procedures, establishes meeting requirements, and helps ensure decisions are made consistently and in accordance with the organization's policies. Having a good understanding of the bylaws allows board members to carry out their responsibilities effectively and supports good governance. Before receiving an IRS determination letter, an organization must first submit Form 1023, which is an application used to request recognition as a 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit. The application includes information about the organization's purpose, activities, governance structure, and finances. Once the IRS reviews and approves the application, it issues an IRS determination letter officially recognizing the organization as tax-exempt. For Martha's Village and Kitchen, this letter serves as proof of its 501c3 status and should be maintained with the organization's permanent records. It's also a document that donors, grant makers, and other organizations may request as verification of the nonprofit's tax-exempt status. Another important responsibility for nonprofit organizations is completing the required annual IRS filings. The standard filing is Form 990, which provides information about the organization's finances, governance, programs, and overall operations. Beyond being an IRS requirement, Form 990 is an important record-keeping tool because it helps document how the organization manages its resources and demonstrates accountability to donors, grant makers, and the public. As board members, reviewing Form 990 can help you understand the organization's financial health, major sources of revenue, program expenses, and governance practices. It also helps ensure the organization remains transparent and compliant with IRS regulations. Depending on the size of the organization, a different version may be filed. Form 990EZ is a shorter version for certain eligible nonprofits, while Form 990N, also known as the e-postcard, is a simplified filing for smaller organizations. Because Martha's Village and Kitchen is a larger nonprofit, it files the full Form 990. A topic board members should be familiar with is unrelated business income tax, or UBIT. UBIT applies when a nonprofit earns income from activities that are not substantially related to its exempt purpose. While nonprofits are allowed to generate revenue, it's important to make sure those activities don't take away from the organization's charitable mission. Board members should also ensure accurate financial records are maintained and that any unrelated business income is properly reported to the IRS. Staying informed about these activities helps protect the organization's compliance and tax-exempt status. As board members, it's also important to understand the difference between lobbying and political campaign activities. Lobbying generally involves attempting to influence legislation and may be permitted on a limited basis, as long as it remains within IRS guidelines and doesn't become a substantial part of the organization's activities. Political campaign activity is different. A 501c3 organization like Martha's Village and Kitchen cannot participate in or intervene in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to a candidate for public office. That means the organization and its resources should remain nonpartisan. For example, Martha's Village and Kitchen may educate elected officials or the public about issues related to homelessness and affordable housing because those topics are connected to its mission. However, the organization cannot endorse a candidate or office, encourage people to vote for or against a specific candidate, or use its facilities, staff, or resources to support a political campaign. Understanding these rules helps protect the organization's tax-exempt status and ensures it remains compliant with IRS requirements. One of the benefits of Martha's Village and Kitchen being recognized as a 501c3 organization is that donations made to the nonprofit are generally tax deductible. This is important because it encourages individuals, businesses, and foundations to support the organization's mission through charitable contributions. As board members, it's important to understand that donors may rely on the organization's tax-exempt status when making gifts. Maintaining accurate records and following IRS requirements helps preserve public trust and ensures the organization can continue receiving tax-deductible donations. For an organization like Martha's Village, community supports plays a significant role in funding programs and services, so protecting this status is essential. Being a board member is playing an important role in protecting both the organization and its 501c3 status. One of the best ways to reduce personal liability is to stay informed and actively involved in the organization. That includes understanding the organization's governing documents, reviewing financial information, and Form 990 filings, attending board meetings, and asking questions when something is unclear. Board members should also make sure the organization continues operating in support of its charitable mission and complies with IRS requirements. By staying engaged and fulfilling these fiduciary responsibilities, board members not only help protect Martha's Village and Kitchen, but also reduces their own risk of personal liability while serving the organization. In closing, I hope this training gave you a better understanding of what it means to serve on the board of directors for Martha's Village and Kitchen. From understanding the organization's governing documents to staying on top of IRS requirements and financial reportings, Board members play an important role in protecting the nonprofit's mission and its 501c3 status. By staying informed, asking questions, and making thoughtful decisions, you can help ensure the organization continues serving the community for years to come. Thank you for your time and fulfilling the training.